Hey book nerds, this is Denise and welcome back to my channel, The Book Nerd. I originally was going to film about something else. I was going to share with you all of my to-be-read books on my to-be-read stand, but today that just doesn't seem appropriate. I felt the need to talk about what's currently going on in our society, which actually has been going on, but it's kind of reached a heightened level, and I felt it necessary to do that at this time. And you'll see me looking down from time to time because I have notes. If I don't use notes, I'm going to be all over the place with this one, so bear with me. So I'm very new to BookTube, very new. I have few subscribers, and I'm taking a risk talking about this issue, and I know that. However, I feel that I must do it. I have to stay true to myself. I have to stay true to my race. I have to do what is right. So with that said, I just want to acknowledge that as you've watched my first few videos, you know that I support a variety of authors, a variety of genres, and a variety of characters in the books that I read that are all of different cultures, backgrounds, races, what have you. And I will continue to. But with that said, I definitely support the Black Lives Matter movement. I support the Black community, and newsflash, I am a Black woman, so this very much affects me. And I hope that you all receive this in the way that is meant. Again, I am a Black woman, and I know that all lives do matter. I'm a person of faith, so I believe all lives matter. I love everybody. However, we cannot honestly say that all lives matter when some lives are not being treated like they matter. So until Black Lives Matter, we cannot honestly say that all lives matter. So a lot of people are asking, a lot of people that are not Black are asking, what can they do at this time for those that have really been hit hard with the things that they've seen in videos of police brutality and killings and other types of racially charged brutality and killings. And there are several things that you can do. You can Google that to find out what those things are. I will just say empathy, acknowledgement, and dialogue are huge in this type of situation. However, this is a book channel, a writing channel, or what have you. And so I'm going to kind of stick to that. So the first thing that I would say is to support Black authors. Support them, buy their books, talk about them on your BookTube, talk about them with your friend, read them, okay? And that's huge. Support booktubers that are Black. Please support us. And I say that as someone that has been watching and viewing BookTube for a while before I even decided to do this channel. And I noticed I'm subscribed to a lot of booktubers, a lot of African American booktubers, and I don't see them like on my homepage a lot, even though I'm subscribed. And again, I watch all races of booktubers, but I don't see them a lot on BookTube on my homepage, and I don't know why that is. I'm too new to BookTube to try to gauge and figure out what all is going on. But subscribe to our channels and support us. That's one huge way that you can help in trying to make things better in our society. Another thing is to get books that will help you understand the situation that is going on. So I know that as a reader, and I know that readers, we're highly empathetic people. And that's probably one of the big reasons why we read, is because we like to get engrossed in our characters' lives. Whether the characters are good or bad, we tend to try to relate to them. We try to understand them. We try to hope, root for them and hope for the best for them, that they'll overcome whatever obstacle it is. So reading would definitely help in this situation to at least get the empathy and acknowledge part under wraps. And so with that said, I'm going to suggest a few books, first in the fiction genre and then in nonfiction, that I think are important reads. And of course, this isn't an exhaustive list. It doesn't even touch it. I'm missing a lot. So I'm just giving you a few books that I've heard about and some that I've read that I think that would be good reads for you. The first one that I would suggest is The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. And The Hate You Give I saw that book. I hadn't heard about it a couple of years ago. I saw it at Barnes and Noble. I saw the cover and I wanted to read it. I read the jacket and I knew it was something that I wanted to read. I will admit it took me a while to read it. As I've gotten older, I read more fiction and I read to escape. So oftentimes I don't read a lot of hard-hitting books because it's very heavy for me. I don't have to read a lot of hard-hitting books all the time because I see hard-hitting things all the time in my community, and I live it. And so, however, it's still important to read these types of books. The book is excellent. I enjoyed it. I cried. I was angry and all of that, but it's definitely something that you would want to read. And this book is about Star, and she goes to a predominantly white school, but she lives in a predominantly black neighborhood, and we see her dealing with code switching and things of that nature. However, things take a big turn when she witnesses one of her friends get shot by the police. And so, trigger warnings, if any of those types of things bother you, that's just a warning. But please read it. Angie Thomas is a phenomenal author. I highly suggest Angie Thomas, her books. And in fact, I'm going to get to the next one that I think you should read, and that's On the Come Up. This one doesn't necessarily touch so much on police brutality, but it does touch on a young African-American woman or teen who is dealing with inequality in the school system and even bias in the media. So you definitely want to read that and kind of get a glimpse into the life of a teen dealing with that, and also wanting to become a rap star after her dad, who is a legend in her community for rapping, who has been killed. Another book that I would suggest is The Water Dancer by Ta-Nehisi Coates. And Ta-Nehisi Coates, just read all of Ta-Nehisi's books, point blank, period. Read them all. But I'll talk about The Water Dancer because it is fiction. It is about Hiram, a slave who has a little bit of kind of some magical powers to help people cross waters and to escape slavery. And I'm just going to give you that short glimpse into that. I think it's important not to just talk about current things that are going on in the Black community, but the history that has led up to it, to see triumph and to see how this pain has been going on for so long. Another book that I suggest that you read, and this is one that I have not read yet because quite honestly I have been hesitant to read it because I just haven't been mentally ready and emotionally ready, but that's a book called Dear Martin by Nick Stone. And I've heard great things about this book, excellent things about this book. And this follows a teen, his name is Justice, and he is like a straight A student or honor roll student at a predominantly white high school that's just achieving academically and in all types of areas, but still being profiled and dealing with challenges in his life. And it talks about how he is profiled by the police, wrongfully arrested, and how there is a horrific event that takes place with the police and his friend and himself. So definitely read that one, and I'm going to have to put that on my to be read list as well. But definitely one that is hard hitting. It talks about things that are going on right now, and because it actually follows a young Black man, you can kind of walk through his shoes. Next, I would like to talk about some of the nonfiction books that I suggest that you read. And one is the autobiography of Malcolm X. I really don't think I need to say more, but I read that book when I was in college, and that book was a life changer. I read the book, then went to see the movie, but Malcolm X, I think that it's important to read the book so that people really know Malcolm X and not just what you think you know. So kind of see his life, how he got to where he was before he was murdered, and to get a glimpse of the things that were going on in his time and see that not a lot, unfortunately, has changed. Another book that I suggest you read is a book by Ibram X. Kendi, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And that book is called How to Be an Anti-Racist. And I actually learned about this book at the college that I work at, because there's a group of people in academia that are reading this book in order to make changes at the college that I work at. And this book talks about racism, of course, and it talks about it in the institutions that we are part of, and also gives some solutions maybe on how to solve those types of problems. And last but definitely not least, I highly suggest that you read Just Mercy by Bryan Stevenson. And so many of you are probably familiar with that book through the movie that was out with Jamie Foxx, but you must read the book because it goes into more detail of Bryan Stevenson's lawyer career, I could talk, his career in law, and how he helped marginalized individuals who are either harshly convicted and sentenced or wrongly convicted and sentenced. And it particularly talks about his first case where he helps Walter McMillan in a murder case that he was wrongly accused of. So I definitely, if you don't read any other, I suggest Just Mercy, because that'll give you an idea of how institutionalized racism takes place, how it happens in our prison system, in our justice system, and then you can have a better idea of why people are so hurt, angry, and outraged. Unfortunately, it didn't start with the things that we've saw in just these last couple of weeks. It started long ago. People are now just at the point where enough is enough. So that is it for the nonfiction books that I suggest. So that's definitely a start. It's definitely not anything, that's going to just change the world overnight, but it is a start to read these books, to understand the lives of fictional characters that are basically based on real life experiences, and also nonfiction people that in history that have experienced racism and or are talking about how to solve it, how to make things better. So for those that are suffering from what we have witnessed via video with all of the brutality that we've seen, take good care of yourselves. Make sure to practice some self-care. I know I've had to this weekend. For those, again, that don't know what to do, I suggest that you Google information to find out what to do. For those that are protesting or doing whatever you can to help make your community a better place, please do that. Please be safe, and I wish you the best as I wish myself the best in us trying to make change. Lastly, I would just like to say, just make sure that you gain knowledge, continue to be book nerdy, and be blessed. Thank you.